Oh, hi there. Today I'd like to discuss a medical issue which I've suffered from and have some experience with, and kind of got the general idea of how to get rid of it. It's called silent reflux, or LPR. Silent reflux can be in the form of a sore throat, as I have had, where it's in this general region here, where it feels tight. It feels dried out and just overall uncomfortable. And if you're not used to it, it can kind of feel like it's potentially dangerous, like it could be cancer or something like that. Now, the odds of it being esophagus cancer or any cancer of the throat are pretty remote. Like, when I went to my doctor, first of all, she didn't even really take me too seriously. She gave me pantoprazole and an antacid. Now, those kind of work. They reduce the stomach acid in your stomach and try to keep it from splashing up, because any stomach acid that hits your throat is going to irritate it, because the top of your throat is more sensitive to stomach acid than your lower part of your esophagus, just because it's just built different. It only takes 3-4 seconds of acid going up into your throat for it to be an issue and to cause long-term irritation. Now, when you watch videos or read about it online, they don't emphasize enough on what are the causes and how to directly get rid of silent reflux. Well, for me, it's pretty simple. I like spicy food and I like alcohol. Now, alcohol in itself causes a lot of stomach acid as well as spicy food, but it burns going down too, especially the hard stuff, especially red wine. So it's best to cut it out altogether, if only for a few months, just to refresh. Now, I didn't start getting silent reflux until a couple of years ago, and this was after 7, 8, 9 years of heavy alcohol use. So you could see that you really got to work your way to it to get it. Now, to reverse it, I would recommend drinking lots and lots of water. I know some people will say, well, if you drink too much water, then all your salts in your body are going to get washed out and things like that, which could be a concern. But I think getting your throat in order is probably the best thing. And I'm not a doctor on this, but I would think that just putting some vegetable stock or chicken stock in there, because it's got lots of salts in it, would help out with your stomach if you feel as though you're washing out too much of it with water. But you have to drink tons and tons and tons of water. I mean, there are hot places in the world where you literally can't survive if you don't drink 3 liters of water a day. So our bodies are meant to take in a lot of water. And alcohol flushes water out of the system. It dehydrates you. And this can lead to a chronic sore throat. And if you ever have silent reflux, it's an unpleasant thing, and you may get rid of it for a while, but if you go back to your old habits, you'll get it back. It'll come back. Now, the pantoprazole that I was prescribed is one variation of the new medicines that they give you that actually take the kick out of the stomach acids. There's a lot of medical jargon that I don't really understand or know, so I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to get into my personal experiences with LPR. I've had 2 tests done. One where they shoved a tube down my throat into my stomach, which was very unpleasant. It was quite similar to the scene in Star Trek, the 2009 version, where Captain Pike had the cockroach shoved down his throat and they were holding him down. So it's a pretty damn unpleasant experience. And the other one is where they shoved a tube up my nose and down my throat. Now, that one wasn't so bad. It sounds creepy and weird, but it really wasn't that bad. And from that, the doctor vaguely said that it looked a little dry, a little red, and that was about it. She didn't say anything about inflammation. Some people might get that. I didn't. I don't think I did anyway. At least they didn't tell me. So they don't tell you much. They weren't even going to tell me their names. I guess that's not really too important. But having LPR is an unpleasant experience. It's it feels like it'll never go away. And the thing is, odds are it's something obvious in your life that's causing it. For me, it was alcohol. For other people, it could be smoking, spicy foods, like I say, fatty foods. Maybe they're a little overweight. These can all contribute to it. I would recommend getting a wedge pillow because a lot of the stomach acid can come up and down your esophagus when you're lying flat down on your bed. And the way to counteract that is to have a wedge pillow, which kind of anchors your head a few inches higher. So it may not be the most comfortable, but as soon as you get used to it, it's really not that bad. I've had one for several months now, and it's made a vast improvement. I still recommend you go see a doctor. They may not directly tell you what's wrong because they're not really sure and they don't want to get sued, obviously. So that's something they consider. As I said, I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea why they approach patients the way they do. Certain doctors will behave differently, but I've noticed almost a cold shoulder, like they don't really care. And part of that might be because I'm too young. I turned 30 years old later this year, and that is just way too young for esophagus cancer. It's just not happening. Now, that's not to say that it's not possible for there to be a lump down your throat. Now, that anybody at any age could get that. It's not age discriminate. But with esophagus cancer, and specifically, you have to work at it for a lifetime. Like a lifetime of smoking, a lifetime of drinking alcohol, and other problems. So yeah, getting back to the basics, how to get rid of it is the important thing. I recommend a wedge pillow. You take your antacids that the doctor prescribes. I was prescribed pantoprazole. There are other pozols. I can't remember what they're called. That's not important. Take them as your doctor recommends. Drink a lot of water. Whatever obvious factors may be there, like alcohol or tobacco, cut those out. Even if you don't drink alcohol and you don't smoke anyway, don't do it at all. It'll only make things worse. And you most certainly don't want that, because you don't want this thing nagging you, and it causes more damage over time, and it's overall bad news. You don't want to feel this uncomfortable. I spent a long time feeling uncomfortable, and it was unnecessary and needless. I could have just changed my habits, but I was just too stubborn. And where did it get me? Well, I'm perfectly fine, but I had to go through a lot of unnecessary grief. I would not recommend anti-craving drugs if you're got an alcohol issue, because they can cause a lot of turbulence within the body, and they can actually make things worse if you got LPR, especially if you have a drink with the anti-craving drug. At least that's what happened to me. It made things a lot worse. And I stopped seeing that doctor because of that, because he misled me on how to use it. He told me a couple drinks, nothing would happen. Well, he either didn't know or he lied, and either way I didn't accept it, so I stopped seeing him. So yeah, if you're ever offered an anti-craving drug, don't take it. They don't really work and they're uncomfortable. Anyway. Yeah, so just listen to what I told you. Drink lots of water. Do this for months and months. And that way you'll be completely recovered, and it's like you're brand new. You've been all patched up. Everything's all right. It will get better. But still, go see a doctor if necessary. Have the tests that I described to you done. They'll help you out and determine if there's anything a curveball or something out of left field or something like that, which probably isn't the case. For most people that watch this video, it will not be the case for them. Odds are it's just your habits and you need to change them while you're still relatively young and not carry these habits along with you your entire life, because then it could be a significant problem. Because if you're in your 50s or your 60s or your 70s and you have this sort of issue, it could be a lot more serious. I mean, it felt serious for me. Like, I was really uncomfortable and I didn't have any answers, and the internet is a terrible place to look for answers. So if you get your doctor into a conversation with you, you make sure you hammer out the questions you want answered. If they try to dull it down, or or they want to be quick about it or whatever, you go, no, this is about my health. I want to know. You're going to answer my questions. Be serious about it. Let them know that you're uncomfortable, because typically the louder you are, the more serious people take you. So that in mind, LPR is a serious condition, and it can last for years and years, and eventually it can lead to cancer if untreated. I had my LPR for almost 3 years, and that was a damn long time. I don't believe it was a long enough time for cancer to set in, but I didn't take any chances. My doctor didn't seem too concerned. I know if there's anything serious like that, she would have stepped in and it would have been a different story. But I believe my doctors underestimated how uncomfortable I was, and that was not good for me. So, as a warning to other people, if you drink too much and you develop a sore throat, cut out the alcohol. If you smoke too much and you get a sore throat, cut out the smoking. If those two aren't the causes, if you don't do too much of either anyway, but most people smoke or drink, that's just a fact, but whatever. Consider other things, like don't eat citrus, don't eat tomatoes, don't eat onions, don't eat anything spicy or fatty, at least for a little while until your throat patches up, because this is an issue that builds up. It doesn't just happen. It builds up over time. So you want to keep on top of that, and you want to be uncomfortable for the least amount of time. And the way to do that is to cut out the X factors, drink plenty of water. Oh, and I forgot one other thing. Limit caffeine as well, especially coffee. Tea, there's some teas that aren't so bad, but even tea you should cut out, at least for a little while. Because, I mean, tea is nutritional for you. And I even hear coffee is good for cirrhosis of the liver, so that's good to know if you drink alcohol. But in the case of silent reflux or LPR, it's not very good for you, so stop doing it for good 3 to 6 months just to be safe. I still have lingering effects of my LPR. It hasn't entirely gone away, but it's mostly gone away because I changed my diet. I'm taking the antacids that my doctors prescribed, and I got my wedge pillow, and I'm drinking plenty of water. So all those things combined will help most people. So that's what I recommend, because you don't want this to turn bad in the future. Anyway, hope someone learned something from this video, and I hope it answered some people's questions. Again, I'm not a doctor. Go see a doctor and hear what they've got to say, and demand that they answer your questions, because they may not otherwise. And everything should be alright. Thank you for watching. Hope you hit subscribe if you want to. You don't have to though. Anyway, see you later.